Biblical Shakers. This week we begin moving from the conditions within the churches of Asia Minor to the future of the universal church as we read Revelations chapter 4 through 8. The Apostle John sees the course of coming events in a very similar way as Daniel and Ezekiel did when we read the Old Testament. Many of these passages contain clear spiritual teachings, and others seem beyond our ability to understand. The clear teaching of this book is that God will defeat all evil in the end. I encourage you to read a chapter each day along with a daily devotion that highlights the reading. As you read chapters 4 and 5, you will see glimpses into Christ's glory. In the 4th chapter, we see into the throne room of heaven. God is on the throne and orchestrating all the events that John will record. 4 times in the book of Revelation, John says he was, quote, in the Spirit, unquote, which we read in verse 2. This expression means that the Holy Spirit was giving him a vision. John points out an awe-inspiring depiction of the grand architecture of God's throne room and its occupants, fostering an atmosphere of reverence and divine holiness. The point of this chapter is summed up in verse 11, where all creatures in heaven and earth will praise and honor God because he is the creator and sustainer of everything. The scroll that John sees in chapter 5 contains the full account of what God has in store for the world. The 7 seals indicate the importance of its contents. They are located throughout the scroll, so that as each one is broken, more of the scroll can be read to reveal another phase of God's plan for the end of the world. The lion mentioned in verse 5 is Jesus, who proved himself worthy to break the seals and open the scroll by living a perfect life of obedience to God, dying on the cross for the sins of the world, and rising from the dead to show his power and authority over evil and death. Jesus Christ, not Satan, holds the future. As the first 6 seals are opened in the 6th chapter, Christ, the Lamb, sets in motion events that will bring about the end of human history. The scroll is not completely opened until the 7th seal is broken in chapter 8. The 4 horses in chapter 6 represent God's judgment of people's sin and rebellion and are the foretaste of the final judgments yet to come. Opening of the 5th seal represents the altar of sacrifice in the temple. John saw martyrs who had died for preaching the gospel. The first 5 seals, or judgments, were directed toward the specific areas, but the 6th seal is universal as it turns back to the physical world with an earthquake and changes in our natural environment. In chapter 7, we see the number 144,000. It symbolizes completeness. These followers of God will be brought safely to him. Not one will be overlooked or forgotten. In verses 1 through 8, we see the believers receiving a seal to protect them through a time of great tribulation and suffering. In verses 9 through 17, we see the believers finally with God in heaven. All who have been faithful through the ages are singing before God's throne. Their destiny is secure. When the final seal is broken, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. Then the first four angels sounded their trumpets in chapter 8. Hail, fire, waters of blood, and darkening of some of the moon and stars were noted as they happened on earth. Only 1/3 of the earth is destroyed by these trumpet judgments. This is only a partial judgment from God, and his full wrath is yet to be released. We read about some amazing visions this week, and more will come as we continue with another 5 chapters in the book of Revelation. Won't you join us next week? Because Biblical Shakers makes reading the Bible way more enjoyable for you. And I pray the Lord will put a hunger on your heart.